There's Katrina. Now, Katrina, I hope that you can hear me. Can you hear me okay? Brilliant. It's just I left my wire at home by mistake, and I honestly, I promise you, I wasn't trying to run you over earlier. That was me. So it's nice to see you, as long as you can hear me. So welcome. We're just going to take a moment, just in seated, so find a comfy position. And what we're going to do, we're just going to focus a little bit on alignment as well in this session. So we're going to allow, I'll just switch my, that's it, so you can see just me now. So we're going to focus on some principles of alignment. So engaging the core, making sure that we're even, that we're stacked. Got a little challenge for you. It's a really simple challenge. Because often we think we're aligned and we're not actually aligned evenly with our body. So we'll have a look at that. And the core as well. So making sure that when we're practicing, we're engaging the core in the right way. So welcome to those online who've joined us. Just allow yourself just to gently relax the shoulders. We're drawing up through the spine, but we're not drawing up so that we're lifting the spine really tall. Just drawing a little length into it and then allowing ourselves just to settle a bit. And start to connect with your breath. Just allowing the inhale and the exhale. Drawing the gaze inwards. And we're going to start with a 4-part breath. So just for anyone joining me, if there's any reason why you shouldn't manipulate the breath, then just allow yourself just an inhale and exhale. That could be because you're pregnant, or it could be because you've got really high blood pressure and just not feeling the love for playing with the breath. So just take a moment wherever you are. And we're going to play with that square breath. So imagine that you've got a square in front of you. And we're going to inhale along one side. We're going to hold the breath gently across the other side of the square. We're going to exhale across, and then we're going to retain the breath. So I'll help guide you. If you don't want to join in, just take inhales and exhales. So we inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. And last time, inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. And then just allow your breath just to relax and calm. I'm going to take our hands gently together at the heart. And we've got lots of space here, so you can bring your hands as wide as you want. We're going to inhale, we're going to lift all the way up and really open the chest. We're going to exhale, bring the hands all the way to the heart. We're going to drop the chin to the chest, get a nice neck stretch here. Inhale all the way up to the sky. And exhale all the way back down again. We're going to do that again. We're going to inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, chin to chest, all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands all the way back down. Last time, inhaling, lift. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Drop the chin to the chest. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands all the way back down to the heart. Take your right hand gently to the left knee. Left hand just gently behind you. It takes us into a really gentle twist. And then just gently, very gently lift through the spine and just take a couple of breaths here. We're not forcing any twist at all. All the way back, you can cross the arms if you want. And actually here, we just take a little roll down for just a little seated cat here. Leave the left hand on the knee and unravel the right behind you. Will allow you to come gently into a twist on the other side. All the way back to center, and we're going to come to that position. If you do have a rug or anything to back, you're very welcome to leave that in front thing, but just watch knees. We're going to stack hands underneath our shoulders. I'm going to tuck knees underneath hip points. And what I want you to do with your hands is just soften, or your arms rather, soften your elbows slightly and take the gaze just gently down. And then we're just going to push the triceps together and feel those shoulders. In fact, I can see mine, because I've got obviously on Zoom, I can see mine just moving gently. So from soft shoulders and soft elbows, feel the back of the shoulders. So what I'm seeing in class is you having a little dip. There we are, Jill. I saw the dip as you had a little kind of sink between the shoulders, and then as you push the triceps together, I'm seeing a flatter back across the shoulder. That's what we want to achieve in our downward facing dog. We don't want dips between our shoulder blades in our downward facing dog. So soften, come back to that back position, soften the elbows gently. We're going to drop the belly, look forwards, inhale to cow. Exhale all the way, rounding our spine as much as you want, as little as you want into cat. While we're here, we're going to inhale again, and we're going to draw the core up and in on the exhale. Inhale, looking forwards. You might want to drop the feet, you want to stretch the feet out. And then exhale, rounding the spine. Back is that cat position, and here, just take a little inhale, and on the exhale, draw the core up and in. So you're really feeling that core engaged. All the way back to stack back position. And then it's up to you where you go. You can play with that little movement back and forth, or you can just gently take a little round of the hips. So you can just take a little bit of the movement, stretching into the body. Just allowing yourself some spinal flexing, but very gentle. When you're ready, when you've played with that a little bit, so just give yourself a little bit more time. I'm going to come back to that stack back position. We're going to tuck the toes. We're going to inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to lift our knees very, very slightly off the mat, coming into a hovering cat. Keep the gaze down towards the thumbs, our alignment, so our neck is part of our spine. So we're keeping that in line with the spine. Come all the way back down. We're going to come all the way to our forearms. No, I'm not going to take forearm back to the beginning. Yes. Yes, we're going to come to the puppy pose. So gently walk the knees a tiny bit back. And all you're doing here, you don't have to push the chest to the mat if you don't want to. All you're doing is pushing into the arms and just lifting the hips a little higher. So you can take a really gentle pose in this. We're keeping our alignment symmetrical.
If it's tough on the shoulder, then you can cross one hand across you, so you kind of get a water dog. And you can just pop the forehead down on the back of that. It's nice for headaches as well, when you bring the forehead to that. If you want to take this pose further, you're very welcome. You can stretch the arms forward and you can bring the chest all the way towards the mat. If you don't have. Just breathing gently. And then we're going to come all the way back, hips to heels. You can take wide child's pose if you want to, knees, toes together. And I'm going to bring my forearms down, rest my head just gently. And just allow yourself a moment with the breath. Breathing into the whole or back. Drawing the breath up from the base of the spine. And then gently, we're going to rise up. We're going to use our hands to support us. We're going to just draw ourselves up at the back of the mat. I'm going to tuck our toes and bring us into forward fold. What I want you to do is I want you to keep lots of bend in your knees. The belly comes down to the knees. This is just if you've got lower back issues, allow the head to hang, and it just gives us just a little bit of a warm up right at the beginning. So we're bending our knees and allowing ourselves just a moment here. We're going to inhale. As we inhale, push through the feet, lift up the hands into little flat back position, airplane arms, and then bend the knees, push into the soles, and then lift yourself all the way to the sun. As if you're holding a big beach ball, but don't overstretch the shoulders, bring the shoulders and the hands to take a moment. Connecting both sides. And then we're going to walk all the way to plank. So we're going to just walk ourselves to plank, knees down if you wish. Make sure your hands are underneath the shoulders. Knees can come down, which softens it. Feet up, which can give you length if you want to take an alternative plank. Gaze right to the front of the mat so that neck is still aligning with the spine. And then what you're going to do, you're going to bend the knees. We're going to push the hips back. We're not lifting up yet. Maybe walk the hands slightly towards you. As we do now, we're going to just push and push so that we're just in this little crouching position. And then just allow the legs to straighten with a soft bend and the knees coming into downward facing dog. Walking all the way forwards to the top of the mat. Into that forward fold position again. Bend the knees if you want, straight legs if you want, totally up to you. Head is just dangling here. Crown of the head to the mat. We're going to inhale. And on the exhale, draw the core gently in. Keep that core just gently supported. Inhale, lift, flat back. Exhale to forward fold, soft knees. And then back to that flat back position. And then lift, hinging at the hips. All the way. And then hands to the back. So we're just going to play a little with the chair, and I'm just going to remind us all, because I'm going to bring a revolved chair into this. So when we come into our chair pose, we're sinking at the ankles and the knees. And we did this on Monday night. That's probably what the killer was. Karen was the block between. Did she use the block? No, she didn't use the block. How are your legs after using the block? Okay. So we're okay. Okay, we're balancing blocks between our legs and the chair pose. So when we come down into chair pose, I'm just going to sink with our hands to the heart today. Now, I want to go to revolved chair pose, and just want to remind us what the feeling is right at the beginning of the class. So we are moving from our mid-spine, not from our lower back. So when we take an inhale, we exhale, feel ourselves moving. You can do this with your arms like this. That gives you that thoracic spine movement. And you can just work out what that feels like. You shouldn't be feeling that turning in the lower back. You should be using the correct part of your spine to be able to move. It's a good thing to just play around with.
Do you stick your bum out or do you have your coccyx in?
You can, well, so what you're going to do, Jill, that's a good question, is your tailbone is in neutral. So you're sitting into a chair, which makes you think that you should stick your coccyx out like that, shouldn't it? But no, because that's then tilting the pelvis. So you're tucking your pelvis just in. The best way to do it is take the inhale, and on the inhale, draw your core in as tight as you possibly can. You'll feel your pelvis tuck gently. Does that happen for you? So now you're in chair pose. Now your pelvis is in neutral, so it's not tilted either way. We inhale again, so obviously again, not breathe. And then exhale, we just take that little turn, just a small amount. Okay, all the way back to center. Inhale and exhale. All the way back to center. And then we're going to lift up and just give your legs a shake. If you want to sort layers or anything like that, please do. So we're going to play with this now. So you can, we're going to take goddess next. Now goddess is slightly different. Goddess is when we sink down, and again, it's not like a squat where you would stick your bum out. Goddess is when your tailbone goes down. So you're sliding down a wall, but your toes are pointed out to be able to do that. Okay, in a squat we would have our toes in the wide, and in fall we have our toes equal to the side of the mat. So goddess, we're just allowing the body just to do what it needs to do by turning the toes out. So you're going to come into goddess, into a little squat here. Take a moment. Nice straight back. So Christian, just take that, sit a little bit upright. Now I saw you. That's it. Brilliant. And we're going to take our left hand to our right knee, and let's take another hand, and then our right hand across, just opening the shoulder, and then come all the way. So we're now sinking into a little goddess chair. So hands gently forwards. Take a moment here. And now we're going to turn the toes slightly and come into a wider forward fold. Allow your knees to be bent as much as you need. Leave that right foot on the edge of the mat and step the left back into a lizard position here. So in a lizard lunge. You'll always bring the back knee down to soften it. Take a moment here. And then come to plank. We're going to take a little vinyasa, so I'm going to take Bhujangasana, so I'm going to take knees down. You can take the full chaturanga if you want to. I'm going to come into little cobra. I'm going to push my hands into the mat, tuck my chin, and come up very slightly into cobra. Don't need to come very high at all. It's about the chest and the shoulders and the hands. All the way down. You choose child's pose, or you can come up into downward facing dog. Child's pose is an option, downward facing dog, if you wish. Take a moment wherever you want. Allow that breath. Think about your alignment. Are you feeling the hips even in child's pose and downward facing dog? And then wherever you are, if you're child's pose, you can come up to all fours. And then if you're in downward facing dog, we're all headed towards the top of the mat. So wherever you, however you get to, I'm going to step to the top of the mat into Uttanasana. I'm going to forward fold halfway, flat back, hands can be on the shins, knees, your version. And then I'm going to push, I'm going to hinge at the hips, lifting all the way up. All the way back. I'm going to take my feet to go down and sink a little into goddess. Take a moment here. Inhale to chin, a little goddess chickens. Little wide fold. Soften the knees if you need. Bring the weight over the feet. Leave the left foot at the top of the mat and step all the way into a little lizard lunge on the other side. Again, you can take the knee down. Take a moment here. Bring that knee down. Frame the foot. Step back to plank. If you're playing with your plank positions, then you can do little chaturanga dips if you want. You can come down to cobra, or you can come to chaturanga into cobra. So wherever you want to come to the mat, you can soften with knees. Bhujangasana, we're all going to meet in child's pose, just lifting back up and all the way. Just taking a breath here. And then just lift yourself up so you can see the class, and just take a moment. We're going to play with something. You can do this at home too, so just make sure that you've got a little bit of a clear area. What's really nice is when we do warrior two, we place our arms, and normally we have a bit of a glance, because if you just think about where your arms are, they might feel straight. Goddess is a good one, goddess arms is a good one. They might feel like they're both aligned. But then when you look at them, oh, okay, they're slightly forwards. All right, so you check. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into downward facing dog. And with our eyes shut, if you want to, you don't have to do this, with your eyes shut, we're going to walk ourselves into a forward fold. We're going to come up into flat back. And then you're going to make your way to Tadasana. And in Tadasana, you're going to see how even you are standing with your eyes closed. So what I want you to do, don't open your eyes in Tadasana unless you're going to fall. If you think you're going to fall, please open your eyes. But what I want you to do when you get into Tadasana, I want you to think, do your hips feel even? Do your soles of your feet, do your toes feel like they're matched? Do the sides of your feet feel like that in Tadasana? So remember, in Tadasana, we can come with our feet apart or together. I would suggest apart for this exercise. The sides of our feet are parallel with the edges of the mat, and what that does, that gives you the proper base and lifts you up. Is that what's happening? Okay, so you might come up to Tadasana and think that that's even, and it's not. But it's just being aware of your body and what it's doing. All right, because we've all been sitting in funny positions or doing something, or pouring lots of coffees with one hand, balancing kids on our hips, or whatever we're doing. So it affects the body. Have a go, see what happens. Just a little thing I thought I'd throw in there tonight. I'm doing a class for paddlers, and I'm going to be doing the principles of alignment and how that relates to feel and connectivity and power transfer and things like that in the boat. And it's something that I thought, actually, it might be quite interesting to do. So you can always come to all fours, start with. I'll join you. Could be interesting. I might end up backwards, upside down and over by the toilets. So what you're going to do, just find your base, maybe shut your eyes. See if you can come to downward facing dog. If at any point you feel a wee bit dizzy, you just open your eyes. Okay. And then we're going to step to the top of the mat into your Uttanasana, your forward fold. Remember again, bending the knees as much as you need. Inhale your flat back, still with your eyes closed. Hands might come on the hips, soften those knees to bring yourself up to hinge at the hips. Really slowly, unless you feel dizzy, open your eyes, come up into Tadasana. And I want you to bring yourself into Tadasana, where you think you are even. Take a moment here. You might need to shuffle because now I've made you really aware of what you're trying to do. You're going to be trying to do it perfectly. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay. So, no surprises for me. My left foot is slightly behind my right foot. And what I thought was the edges of my feet even to the sides of the mat. Absolutely wasn't. They weren't. Anybody else got any feedback there? I'm about where I thought kind of width-wise.
I've shifted sideways a bit, and one
Oh,
foot is straighter than the other.
Okay.
I'm to the side and
Okay, so one hip slightly further forward than the other, and at home you can be looking at the same thing. So okay, so now what we're going to do, with that knowledge, we're going to do that again. All right, and then I promise you we're not going to do any more forward folds. So come to your focus. It's all about alignment with principles. So step back, find your downward facing dog. Remember in downward facing dog, bend the knees as much as you need to protect that back. It's not a problem. Step to forward fold. Inhale to your version of that back. Bring yourself up to Tadasana. And I want you to, with that in mind, just find your balance. Oh dear, I think I've got totally out of wall. And then gently open your eyes. So, my left foot is now massively behind my right foot. Don't know what yours is doing at home. And I've gone off the centre of my mat as well. Normally I'm quite aligned to the centre of my mat. Anybody else?
not totally overcompensating.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay, so it's just being aware of what we think we're doing, and then what our body is doing. So it's we know things are happening, and we can try and make sure. So when we now go into this flow, so we're going to start at the top of the mat. Okay. We just take our belt back into stuff, and then now you can see what you're doing. You can just align your feet. Bring hands to the heart. We're going to step back to high lunge. Soften the knee into high lunge. Any back issues? Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to the heart. Now what I want you to do is the hips. I want you to think about whether that left hip's gone way back or not. And I want you to see, you might need to move the right foot across and your left foot across to widen your stance. And you keep your hip points facing forwards a bit more. Great. Inhaling lift. Exhaling hands. We're going to sink to Virabhadrasana 1. So we're going to open the hip into Virabhadrasana 1 and let that back foot go to the side. Inhale, lift. Now, here's a trick. Close your eyes. We're going into Warrior 2. Inhale. Exhale to Warrior 2. I want you to relax your shoulders. I want you to draw your pinkies back slightly. I want you to make sure that you're pushing into that front heel. I want you to open your eyes when you think that your back arm and your front arm are aligned. Okay, not bad. It's not bad. It's okay. Inhale. Exhale. I want you to draw the core in and tuck the tailbone into neutral. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, side angle. So just draw the hand gently to the knee and sweep that top arm all the way forwards. Or you can bring it to the hip if you don't want to raise that shoulder.
And then all the way forwards. Pivot on that back foot to allow movement. So don't hang that back foot so it's stuck. We're going to step to a plank. We're going to vinyasa or take a child's pose, whichever you want to do. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a vinyasa every time. It might just be a little child's pose. And you might meet down the dog. I'm going to come to child's pose. Just taking a moment here. And then we're all going to meet in stacked back position. So if you're in downward facing dog, come to stacked back position. We're going to extend the right leg long. And then we're going to look towards that right foot. Just take a little stretch here to the side. Lift the right foot so it's in line with the body. And then maybe you take the left hand out gently. Keep the gaze down towards the mat. Maybe you tuck the back toe. Maybe you just keep the hands on the mat and you're just working on lifting the leg. Bring the knee back underneath you, opposite side. Left foot comes out. Maybe turn towards it. These are all options. Left foot comes into this, into a little balance. Again, let's think about alignment. Your right hand and your left hand, before you even lift into balance, you've got evenness in that weight in right hand and left hand. And then if you have and you're confident, you can just bring a little bird balance into this. Gaze down to that. And then bring gently underneath. Sink back if you need, just to give the hips a stretch. And then make our way, however you would like, to the top of the mat. Doesn't need to involve a forward fold. It could be just to be hinge at the hips, it could be a roll up, it could be down the face of the dog, hop and skip or jump all the way up to the mat. Arriving into Tadasana, let's get our base. And I want you to really feel the connection as the mat and the feet. So outer edges of the feet in line with the yoga mat will make your legs feel a bit real and they go engage. Okay? That's good. And then relax the shoulders. You need a floaty top body. Hands to the heart will help our balance as we step back. We're going to step into high lunge, bending the back knee if you need, lower back. Straightening it if you don't. Fine, straightening the back. Inhale, lift, high lunge, crescent moon. Sweep the hands gently behind us. Bring them to prayer. Anjali Mudra. Drop that back heel, coming into this Virabhadrasana position now. You might wish to give the hips lots of space, walking that left foot over. Inhale, lift. I'm going to go to warrior two. Close your eyes if you want to. Soften gently the shoulders. Make sure that tailbone is tucked gently underneath you rather than sticking the tailbone out. Neutral spine. Good. Have a little peek. Not bad. I've got the shoulders tense today. Reverse warrior. So back of the hand goes into that, and then we lift just gently up to the sky. Reverse warrior can go up to the sky. It can be just palm up at the front if you don't want to lift the shoulder. We're going to come to side angle, just gently drawing hand to the knee. Extending the arm if you want to. Opening back to warrior two. Sweep to Virabhadrasana one.
hands to the heart. We're going to step to the top of the mat. And then give yourself a wee shake if you want. Got water and like that going on. Please do that. So it's just sometimes we slow down our practice to, and yoga is slow, but sometimes we just go, okay, I'm not going to do quite as much of the flow. I'm actually going to think about where my feet are going on the mat, how my hips are, whether I've got the same weight in my hands. Because what we do over time is we just cause repetitive injuries. It's the same if we're doing anything in sport. If we're doing something over and over again, and we're doing it where we're slightly off balance, off kilter, then we're likely to hurt ourselves. And considering some of you have been practicing with me now for a few years, it's easy to develop habits. So it's just a good reminder to come back. I'm looking at Laura, bless her, but Sally, I should be looking at it as well, because I think you were there in my front room. Yes. So it's reminding ourselves of what we're doing. So where are we going to go? Let's have a little play. Where was I going to go? Oh, right, okay, we're going there, are we? Okay, off we go. So we're going to sweep our hands to the sky. Urdhva Hastasana. We're going to exhale the hands to the heart, Anjali Mudra. Bending the knees softly, we're going to keep the right foot at the front. We're going to come into runner's lunge. Coming into this runner's lunge. Taking a moment here. And then we're going to step back. This right foot, let's have a little challenge. Don't join in if you don't want to. Come to down facing dog. We're going to come to tripod. Ooh, up into tripod. Okay. Open the hip in tripod if you want, just by gently bending the knee and bringing the foot towards you, only if you want to. And then we're going to bring that right foot to the outside, coming into this lizard lunge again. Drop the knee if you want to, or you can keep this in a lizard lunge. Take a moment here. We're going to come back. We're going to come back to that tripod. Doesn't need to come very high. So that foot doesn't need to come very high at all to be effective in tripod. And then what we're going to do, we're going to scoop. Be ready for this. It's a little falling triangle. So if you're just being careful, don't come to your knees just a moment. Scoop that right foot under, coming into a little side plank variation into falling triangle. Okay, so just take a moment if you don't need to in plank. Come all the way back into plank. Excellent. Come into downward facing dog. And then walk all the way through the center line. And then before you get to that forward fold, draw your feet to the side of the mat and come into little Malasana, where we're evening the hips, opening the hips. In Malasana, you can always come into a little locust pose, which is quite nice as well with the hands, or you can bring the hands together. There's lots of things we can do with the little mudras. You can always take a little movement with the hips here. And we come up into a wide fold, which is slightly softer, hinging at the hips, rolling. Give yourself a shake if you need. And then that left foot's going to go at the top of the mat. We're going to step to runner's lunge just gently on the other side. Excellent. Let's take a moment here. And then from this runner's lunge, we swing that foot gently back, coming into a little tripod. That leg, if it goes too high, we're not going to be able to keep our alignment here and the hip opens. Keep balance in either hand. And then gently, if you want to, come into an open tripod here. So stack back. Come forwards into a little lizard lunge. So your left foot comes forwards into lizard runner's lunge. Balance, strength, flexibility. And then all the way back up. If you want to, you can come into that falling triangle. If not, just come down to the knees and come into child's pose, or you can scoot that left foot through to the other side and you can come into falling start. Now I'm going to just bring my knees underneath me and just bring my hips to me while you're having a play with that. All of you remembering just, that's lovely, there's some great shapes to come all the way down, and because we've just played with a little opening of the hips, we're just going to sink back and take a reset pose. And then just roll yourself up, bring your feet out to the side and come all the way forward. Allowing yourself just a moment, and we're going to find the sit bones again. Can you sit on your sit bones evenly? I know that sounds like a really odd question, but are you sitting evenly? So the sit bones are the kind of the hard bony bits that we kind of find when we come into both. So see if you can feel, it's really, once you start thinking about it, you're like, oh, goodness me. Okay, so we're going to play just with a bit of both, firing up our core here. Just check that I'm not going to take you into a 2-hour session, because honestly, this week I've been in teaching mode this week. Sorry. So, okay, occasionally the classes we end up in a full flow, and then sometimes I like to pull us back and then just pull things apart a bit, and this week's been one of those weeks where I think it's just been quite nice just to, okay, we can do all of that. Let's think about how we are on that. So when we're in boat pose, again, you can bring your hands. You don't even have to bring your feet off the mat. Just you start the basics. Alignment, evenness, knees in line, feet in line with knees in line with the hip points here, hands gently behind. I open and relax those shoulders. Gently leaning back here. And start to feel the hip flexors, the thighs maybe, the core very gently engage. You don't need to do a huge amount with our bodies to be engaging muscles. And then you might want to come into your own variations. So here is fine. You can start to bring just a little bit of strength in this by just raising one leg, raising the other, chin to the sky. You can let go if you want and do little toe taps, which is a great thing for starting to work the hip flexors and strengthening the hip flexors. And you can build up to this, or you can come into a half boat, or you can come into your full boat. Any point, what's quite nice is coming into butterfly, if you like a hip opener. I say it's quite nice. That's because I've just put my interpretation of what's nice in yoga onto you guys. I haven't done any forearm planks yet, Vicky. I've been so well behaved tonight. So playing with where you are, and remember you can play with these low boats and high boats and all sorts of things. And then I'm going to show you while we're down here. We did this a couple of weeks ago. It's a little yoga drill. So it's for just, if you get kind of that, if you're doing a lot of one-legged practice. So it's just a little yoga drill here for the hips and back. And it's just the knee comes forward gently. So I've got a straight leg underneath me and a little toe tap behind. And we're starting very gently. If it aggravates any injury at all or anything like that, we're just releasing the hips slightly with a little toe and knee tap. Do it about 10 times on one side, really slowly. Well, one of my yogis did this a couple of weeks ago, and she said, I walked down the street and I was feeling really good. She said, I don't know what I was doing. What was that funny exercise you were doing? It wasn't this class, it was another class. And so she's been doing it like every day now. I do it every day since she said that. Really? Yeah. Because she says it releases something in the back. Try the other side as well. I think it's important in our yoga practice to, we have days where we'll put music on and we'll just go off on one and flow. And then there's other days where we start to unpick. And even your home practice, to improve our yoga practice, we need to build strength. To build strength, it doesn't always involve yoga. Pilates, weights, walking. And then just gently, when you've done it the same on the other side, gently come into Dandasana. And just allow yourself into Dandasana. Again, come into this pose. Just check your alignment. Shoulders relaxed. Back is your tailbone just gently tucked under this time. You shouldn't have any scoop of the lower back. And we're going to just hit the right knee, bend the right knee gently, and we can just lift the left arm out and just take a gentle turn into it. Breathing gently. And we're going to gently go to the other side. So just relaxing, come to the center, move the knee. To bring the hand up just allows you just to lengthen and then come all the way just to the other side. Coming all the way back to center. We're going to come down to another one of my favorites, which might not be yours, reverse pigeon. So we're going to come all the way to our backs. So with reverse pigeon, what we're going to do is you choose where you want to be. So your foot can be on the floor and your ankle can be across the top of the knee, and you can stay here and just allow spine to engage, the hip to very slightly open. Or you can take hands behind the neck into the reverse pigeon here. So keeping the head on the mat and then allowing yourself. You can extend the leg to the sky if you want to. You can even take a deeper bind and take your hands around the shin as well. Now that gets a stretch right to the hip, but only if you like that. Or you can just keep it really soft and keep the foot on the mat and just allow hands on the belly and just take a moment in a very yin version. Just allowing. You might find movement in this pose, you might not. And when you've finished, then wanted, I'll tell you what, I'll show you this just because it's a nice one if you've been running as well. So in your, and you have to be careful with this if you've got any back hip issues, you do this gently. What you can do for your reverse pigeon, you can actually bring the foot back onto the mat so you're not in that bind. Allow that leg that is lifted for that sole of the foot to go into a supine twist. Okay, that goes over and draws you into a little deeper supine twist here. Maybe not for everyone, it may be for someone, just mindful of it. So you can try that little supine twist, then roll the way back, swap legs into your reverse pigeon. Come to your version of reverse pigeon. maybe that's fine, maybe it isn't.
And again, with alignment, it's the same about timing. We do this in yin. If you spend some time on one side, you spend the same time on the other side. So we always practice, we always mirror our practice. You're allowing yourself, when you're ready, to come to that little supine twist if you wish. You don't have to. It's almost like an eagle leg kind of supine twist. And if it's not for you at all, then you can always come back. So other things that we can do on the back, come into your happy baby, Supta Baddha Konasana, so soles of the feet together, knees out, and just allow a hip opening. Or one of my other favorites, maybe another of my favorites this week, is half happy baby. So bent knees, sole of the foot on the ground. Bring the knee, the sole of the foot towards the sky, knee towards you. Take your hand inside that foot as if you're just grasping the inside of the foot, and just take a little moment here. You can do full happy baby if you want, and roll to your heart's content. Try, oh, you've got plenty of room tonight, so you won't roll onto your neighbour. I hope not. Just playing. And if you're all rolled out, then bring your feet as wide as the yoga mat. Bring the knees together and allow yourself into constructive breath pose where you rotate the hips in a slightly different way. And we allow the spine to just lengthen, to do its own thing, the natural curve of the spine on the back, the knees come together. Real resting pose here. Just allowing yourself some time. And then I've left you plenty of time for relaxation tonight, which is really unusual. So what I'm going to suggest is that you get yourself cozy. You might want to continue the supine twist, just so there's loads of options. You might want to keep going with supine twist. You might need a bit more of that rocking and rolling. Please do if you do, it's fine. And if not, get yourself to a place where you're nice and cozy. And you've got choices here. You can sit in a seated position. I'm going to just sit in the deer pose, or you can come into Shavasana. So if you've got coats and socks and scarves and all sorts, then you can see that. One. If you're in Shavasana and you do have a blanket, that's great. You can also pop something under your knees or coat. Use that. Wherever you're comfortable. When you're in a place that you're feeling comfortable, just take a moment just to settle and shuffle shoulders. You can come into Shavasana with knees bent back into that constructive rest pose if that's comfy for you. Everyone's very different. And then just allow yourself to start to settle. Wherever you're connecting with the mat, feel yourself melting, feel yourself heavy. Be aware of that support. That might be the back of the heels. It might be the sit bones if you're seated. Just take a moment to scan your body. I think this is really important. Just identifying how we feel and just taking that time. We'll start from maybe the heels. Just going all the way through up the legs towards the hips and pausing. We often keep a lot of tension in our hips. So just allow softening the spine all the way up to the shoulders, the back of the head, the forehead, the jaw. And then what I'd like to do is our breath can help us move tension in our body. If you take an inhale, if you imagine you're taking a breath from just behind the base of the spine, and you're lifting that breath all the way up through, all the way through the lungs, all the way up the throat. And then I want you to push that breath to wherever you want to in the body. You might not have any tension. Just might want to push that breath all the way to your toes. But you also might want to push it to somewhere that needs a bit of extra support. When you exhale, visualizing that breath going to that place. And as you push the breath, imagining where that breath is going to is softening, relaxing. And just allow that breath just to come back to just a gentle rise and fall. Allow your awareness to come back to your body, come back to you lying on the yoga mat, come back to the room, come back to where you are if you're seated. And then gently, with that awareness coming back, maybe bring some movement to the fingers and the toes. And if you're in Shavasana, just allowing yourself to roll onto your side really slowly. And allowing yourself to push yourself back up to an upright position when you're ready. And when you're back just upright, just take a pause. And then we're just going to bring our hands together. We're going to rub our hands, bring some heat to them, connecting the right and the left side of the brain. And then we're going to bring the heels of the hands to our eyes. And then thank you very much for joining class tonight. Thank you. I'm just going to switch the recording off. And then it was lovely to see everybody online. So yeah, it's great, Katrina. Sorry that I forgot my mic, my wires. I hope you heard me anyway.
There we are.
That's okay, Katrina. I'll put a note out, Katrina, for the following week, because the Thursday Hatha Yoga, I'm in London, but I'm going to do a special class on the Monday. It's the week of about the 27th, about then. But I'll put a